Everybody, Stu Smith here, going live and taking some questions. But before we do, I'm going to just kind of let people pop on here. And while they are waiting to ask questions, I'm going to chat a little bit about mental toughness. I have this one article. In fact, why don't I just do this? I will put it in the comments section. This one article is kind of like a one-stop landing page for everything I've ever written on mental toughness. So you'll see articles in there. You'll see cool pictures, but also some videos where podcasts are devoted to that type of topic. But really quick, in a nutshell, the one thing that I have learned over the years is that there's no one way to become mentally tough. There's no one event that causes it. There's not a particular motivational phrase or meme or poster that's going to say, all right, you are now mentally tough. It really does take a lifetime of putting out and pushing your perceived limits. And over time, you will build disciplined habits that turn into mental toughness, self-confidence. All of that is very important. So when we talk about young people not performing well in spec ops programming, let's say teenagers, there are always a few that do perform really well. And that is usually because they have a lifetime of pushing those perceived limits. Even though they are young, they have matured physically as well as mentally to be able to handle some of those really tough, challenging selection programs. Hopefully you guys are going to pop on here and ask some questions here soon. There's another topic I wanted to chat about too, is somewhat related, but at the same time, it's just sad. We had a death at SEAL training. Everybody's probably heard about that. Please don't ask me what I know about it, because I really don't know anything about it. I've heard a few things. None of those can be verified or substantiated. Read a few articles that media has put out, and just don't get on and start speculating what happened, because we won't really know until everything comes out with the investigation, as well as the autopsy and all of that. So unfortunately, we also had another death in the SEAL community, and this one, he goes way back. He's a class of 67, Naval Academy graduate, Admiral Ray Smith. Just passed away. Long battle with Alzheimer's, and I know his family really well. Went to buds with his son. His other son went to buds. His other son is a firefighter, so they understand what service is. And he was one of those first SEAL admirals created back in the late 80s, early 90s, and went to the Gulf War, went to Vietnam, as a young SEAL, and then the Gulf War as a commander. He was commander Navy Special Warfare, which is the top SEAL position you can get in the Navy. And he'll be missed. So think about his family, as well as the young buds candidate student that passed away as well. So I don't have any answers to those type of questions. But looks like Amit has a question. What is your advice to someone who's starting to run after a long time? Great question. Progress logically. And what that means is don't start off where maybe you left off. Like a lot of us will do this, and I've done it myself. Maybe was running, 4 or 5 mile sets for multiple days of the week. Then I go do a lift cycle where I hardly ran, very much at all, maybe 10 miles a week. And then go back into spring, not progressing logically. And that always wound up hurting myself, especially when I was younger, teens and early 20s, trying to do that stuff. So yeah, just be smart about it and treat yourself like a beginner. If it's been a long time, you should treat yourself like a beginner. Give yourself 2 or 3 weeks before you really start ramping up. So what I mean by that is maybe only run 5 to 10 miles for your first 2 or 3 weeks. Make sure you are changing it up a little bit. Throw a sprint day in there, so a goal pace in there. So just a nice steady 2-mile run, something like that. And that's it. You can still do other cardio though. So here's where I think you can really make up for the lack of aerobic base. Instead of doing a whole bunch of really quickly and poorly timed long, slow distance running to build up your base, do it with biking or swimming or rowing, something like that, mixed in with your 1 to 2 mile runs per day. That way you can still get another 30 or 45 minutes of cardio without the impact of running. So that's going to help you build your running base, cardio base, and progress logically into that. And then once you do that, it's like a 10 to 15% per week increase. And very soon, in 6 weeks, you pick back up things to probably where you left off. So just go into it gently. It'd be the same thing if you hadn't lifted weights in a while. You're probably not going to go back to your 1 rep max on day 1. So don't do that. Build up over time. And next thing you know, you're back to your 1 rep max. So hope that helps. Let's see. Hey, Stu, what amount of mileage do you suggest per week? I'm running 30 miles a week right now. Do you think that's too much on top of swimming and lifting? Well, I mean, as long as you are not feeling any pain, 30 miles is pretty good. Now, I would suggest this. Because you're swimming, maybe even throwing some biking in there, I don't know. I would not waste a lot of your running on long, slow distance runs. So if you're like doing a 10 miler one day, just drop it to like 4 or 5 and run it fast. See if you can hit a 7-minute mile for 4 to 5 miles. That's how you do 20 to 30 miles effectively. If you're running 20 fast and then 10 slow, that's fine. But it's I don't think it's very helpful. You're going to run a 4-mile timed run. I'm assuming you're trying to go to Buds. You're going to run a 4-mile timed run every week for 26 weeks. So make sure you can hit a 7-minute mile easily. Even after a leg day workout, your legs are going to be shot. So see if you can do that. Hit that 7-minute pace for as much as you can. Let's see. I'm a powerlifter trying to lose weight for the Air Force. I switched to Cals. Good. Mid-December. Never knew calisthenics was so hard. Good. Plus, I hate getting on and off the floor doing push-ups. Yeah, I get it. I was a powerlifter too. Enjoyed lifting. Loved it. Running was challenging. You know, a mile was long distance for me. But it was a fun challenge to get good at all of that. It was a fun challenge to learn how to swim fast and be able to run faster for longer distances. You know, 4 and 5 mile runs fast was a fun challenge to try to do. And I did that largely with like a triathlon training program. So 2/3 of my cardio were non-impact cardio. Just like I mentioned above, you know, when you're progressing, you haven't run in a while, whether you're a beginner out of a powerlifting world or you just haven't run in a while, make 2/3 of your cardio time non-impact cardio, and your knees will thank you for it. You'll still get the heart and lung benefit of building an aerobic base that way without all the impact. So yeah, calisthenics are fun. I mean, getting good at calisthenics, you know, for me turned into like my new 1 rep max on bench. You know, pull-ups, getting over 20 was a good challenge. Keep on moving, man. Good job. I guess if you weigh it, you have to move it. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah. Let's see. Also, is it okay to repeat your beginner calisthenics body weight workout before moving forward in your workout book? It's up to you. You know, if you feel you need to, then do it. You know, one thing about fitness books, and that's all fitness books, is it is not a personalized program. So you need to personalize it to fit your facilities, your abilities, your time per day, days per week, you know, capabilities. All of those things need to be addressed, you know, when you see it, because, you know, I may have a 5 mile run in there and you haven't run 5 miles ever. So you may not want to do that. You may want to do half of that and then spend the other time of that run doing a bike or something. So you're going to have to personalize it for yourself. In my 10-minute 500 yard, is my 10-minute 500 yard good enough if I'm fast with fins on? Yeah. I mean, it could be a technique issue. I mean, I've had a lot of guys go from 10 minutes to 8 flat in a month once I fixed their technique and then got them in better swimming condition, simply with the 50-50 workout. In fact, I'm going to put that in here just so you guys know it exists. If you haven't heard about the 50-50 workout, you need to check this out because it is a great free workout for you that you can do to get in a lot better swim shape. Now, if you're fast with fins on and you can do a yard per second with fins on, let's say you can do 4,000 yards in, I don't know, 65, 70 minutes, sure. Do that. I don't think it really matters, but you know, it's nice not to be the last one out of the pool. Is it okay? Okay, you already answered that. Have I tried Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Yes, actually. It was getting pretty popular even in my day at the teams. People were doing Jiu-Jitsu quite often. In fact, the Gracies were a big part of that. You know, these are early days. This is like mid 90s. So it was early days of that getting popular. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. You know, coming from a wrestling background, it was alarming to me. You know, being on my back was not comfortable at first. And then slowly you started figuring it out. And it actually was a mind shift, I think, of being comfortable on your back, which I thought was a unique addition to, you know, combative sports. Let's see. Morning, sir. Unofficial PST scores are 845, 90, 95, 20, 905. That's great. I think those are fine. Now, you just, with those scores, you can get to the training, right? You are above average candidate for sure. Now, you need to focus on getting through the training. And I'm sure you understand what that means. That means you have weekly 4-mile timed runs, 2-mile swims with fins. You have to prepare for the very big strain of the first 4 weeks of boats and logs and fireman carries and just beat down. So your durability needs to be increased potentially. Maybe your strength needs to be increased. But if your endurance needs to be increased with 4-mile timed runs and 2-mile swims and getting your ankles used to swimming with big scuba fins, working on your grip so you can handle all of the events of the obstacle course without failing any. So now your focus is getting through the training. I've written a couple articles about the different phases of tactical fitness, and that is one of them. In fact, I call what you need to do phase 2 of tactical fitness. All right, so phase 1 is getting to the training by crushing a PST, and then phase 2, which I just put in the comment section, phase 2 is getting through the training. I think that was that article. Yes. Yep, that's it. That's a good one. Read that. Let's see. Hit a 6:47 pace on a 3-mile. That's good. That's good. Just getting done playing college football, building cardio. Great. What's a good pace you suggest for 4 miles? Well, 3 miles, I would say try to push it a little faster. I mean, Marine Corps standards is 18 minutes for a 3-mile run. So that's a 6-minute mile. However, if you're going to 4 or 5 miles, a 7-minute mile is sufficient. So I kind of break it down like this, like PST type training. You're going to want to shoot for a 6-minute mile run. So that means a 9-minute mile and a half. That means a 12-minute 2-mile. That means a 18-minute 3-mile. And those are just really good scores, right? And for the Marine Corps, that's maxing it. I think Army too. However, if you're going for 4 or 5-mile runs, a 7-minute mile is sufficient, because at Buds, if you can do a 28-minute 4-mile run and make that easy and not a gut check, you're in good stead with the class. If you can break 28 minutes for a 4-mile, that's great. I think the fastest I ever did was between 26:30 and 27. And that was good. Let's see. And then, the Army Rangers, you have a 40-minute cutoff time for a 5-mile run. So if you can hit a 35-minute on that, that'll put you in the top half of the running group. Good question, but that's good, man. 7-minute pace. If you can hold that pace right there for a 4-mile run, that's what I would do. I wouldn't, if you're trying to run a 4-mile timed run to go to Buds, what I would do for you, Anthony, would be say, let's add a mile to that, and let's see if you can hit sub 7 miles pace for 4 miles, and see if you can get in between that 27, 28-minute zone, just for a little bit of gravy. Do I do in-person training? Not one-on-one training. The only training I do is locally in person is through a program I call Heroes of Tomorrow. In fact, I'll type it in here. You can see it. heroesoftomorrow.org. It is a free training program. That's right, free. I don't charge anything for it. Been doing it for over 20 years. Young men and women who want to serve can join me for free. That's it. If you're not serving, this is not for you. I don't have room for people just trying to get in shape. Every now and then I'll let some high school kids come in that are getting ready for lacrosse or football, stuff like that. I don't mind that because I've, know their parents, and that's all cool. But for the most part, it's just for people who are wanting to serve in some capacity. Military, law enforcement, firefighters. We get a lot of police officers that are going to SWAT. We get a lot of active duty that are trying to do spec ops. We get a lot of civilians that are trying to go straight to spec ops selection programs. And we get a lot of high school kids that are trying to go to a service academy. That's typically the group of people that join us locally. I do have some online coaching programs as well. If you go to stewsmithfitness.com, you will see a link on the main page there that is all about coaching. Most of the people that I coach, however, are just old people who need to lose weight. Every now and then I'll get somebody who wants to be a spec ops kid, but for the most part, it's just older adults that are trying to get in better shape. But I've trained everybody. In fact, most of these books here that you've seen have come from, like this one here came from training guys that went PJ, and this one training guys that go recon or MARSOC. So these are kind of the programs for generic programs of these specific personalized programs that I know helped people get through the training. So the books are sufficient. This is what we did last spring and summer. It's a 24-week cycle where we transition out of weights, and then we move into calisthenics and cardio. Then we do the reverse in the fall, winter, transition into weights, do a little less running, a little more non-impact cardio, and we start adding weight to it. We're in the middle of our lift cycle right now. I think we're on like our 12th week of lifting, which we have been doing a 3-to-1 block periodization. If you're not familiar with that, our 3-to-1 block periodization program works like this. Whoops. It is a 3 weeks of strength followed by 1 week of deload. But that week of deload training is focused all on calisthenics and cardio. So we go from lifting and running a little bit, rucking and swimming a little bit, to calisthenics and cardio, where we run a little bit more, not too much to get out of the cycle, but run a little bit more, calisthenics a lot, no weights other than maybe some supplemental dumbbell stuff, and then we hit the swims. We hit the swims every day, regardless of the cycle, unless you're a stud swimmer. So that was a long answer to what I do. But yeah, I do have an online training program, but I don't train one-on-one locally. Just do it as a group for free. What do guys do a job and place to stay when they move to Maryland with you? It varies. We got some dudes that are doing really cool jobs, like they went to college, became a physics major, now working in a lab somewhere. We got some that are real estate agents, Uber drivers, working at Chipotle. There's a couple of bars that know about what we do, and they hire my guys all the time downtown Annapolis, which guys really like that because it's very social. Plus they get good money and tips and stuff. And their hours are good too, because they can work out with me in the morning and then go work, in the evenings, at these restaurants. So that's what most people do. And they find a place to stay somewhere. We had this one group of guys that all visited here together, kind of meet some people, and they were all looking for roommates. And they decided to go into and rent a 1-bedroom apartment. And they turned the living room into a bunk bedroom. And I think they at one point had like 7 people in this 1-bedroom apartment, which a couple of guys were former active duty, and they said, yeah, this is much worse than living in the barracks. So those dudes were savages, though. And I really enjoyed working with those guys. A lot of them have gone on to the Army, and a couple have gone on into the Navy, but most of them have gone Army SF. A couple of Rangers last year too. But good question. Let me see here. I think I have a video to share if you guys want to do a combat swimmer stroke critique, but I'm not seeing it. Something's wrong with my process here. So you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to, oh, here it is. Computer's just moving slow. I don't think I showed this one last time. This looks like a new one. Computer's moving a little slow. Sorry about that. Yeah, let's see. Let me pull this out. All right, so I'll share my screen. Pull up this guy. Let's see. I don't think I showed him last week. All right, good kick off the wall. Good double arm pull. Nice. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. This is good. This is really smooth. He can keep his legs. See how his legs kind of move a little bit too much? You know, keep those ankles close to each other, touching even. Usually what I do is I put one foot on top of the other and hold the glide. Otherwise, you're just really slowing down the slipstream there. And that's pretty nitpicky as far as swimming is concerned. Keep your head down when you're gliding. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Yeah, I think the problem here is it's just really slow. And you know why it's really slow? Is because you're just not putting in enough effort on that arm pull and effort on that kick. It just looks like it's in slow motion. You need to put more power on that pull and kick, and you will go faster. But yeah, that's a minute-long swim there. And as far as technique is concerned, it's perfect. But the power needs to be updated. You need to put more power into your stroke. So literally pull harder, kick harder, and you will go faster. I would consider what I just saw a good comparison would be somebody walking around a track and somebody doing a timed 1.5 mile run. So the effort that it takes to run a timed 1.5 miles is very similar to the effort you should be putting into that swim, right? It's a test, so you should be putting out. But at the same time, you should be efficient. You should be not wasting a lot of energy. That was not a waste of energy. It was super efficient. It just wasn't fast enough. So put in more power and work on your kick and pull. So that was a good one, though. As far as technique is concerned, that was excellent. Let's see if we got any. Do I recommend flip turns, or is pushing off the wall fine? You can't do flip turns, to my knowledge, in any military fitness test. Like, even if you're swimming freestyle, I don't think you can do flip turns. I might be speaking out of line on that one because I'm talking for like Coast Guard freestyle and freestyle options for the PJs and, you know, Air Force Special Warfare. You can swim freestyle for those swims, but when you're doing the Navy PST, when it's a side stroke or a underwater recovery stroke, you cannot do flip turns. So I only do flip turns when I do freestyle. I just don't think they are part of the test. Not sure why, and I could be wrong. But I know for Navy, you can't do flip turns. Okay. I'm going to show you guys one more thing over here. I have a I actually have a TikTok full of swims. So if you guys have ever wanted to find a location with nothing but CSS, because if you go on YouTube, I probably have 150 CSS swim videos on here, and they're pretty old, but they're still very good. But you got to hunt and peck through hundreds of videos, because now I have these lives, I have podcasts, I have exercise demonstrations. So there's probably like 600 videos on this YouTube channel, which sifting through all the CSS could be a pain in the neck. I don't know. Maybe you can Google it, search it, and it pops up for you, no problem. However, what I did do is I decided to create a TikTok page that has nothing but me dancing on it. No, just kidding. Nothing but me voiceover critiquing people swimming. So whether that is very common errors like this guy who probably pops up too much, and you know, a lot of flutter kicking, you know, so most common errors, you know, super efficient guys. This is a really good one. I like this one. Kicks off the wall, double arm pull, goes into a stroke, top arm, bottom arm kick, holds the glide. Notice he's got his feet together and gliding fine, not doing a lot of flutter kicks. You don't need to do flutter kicks. If you have a good scissor kick like this, see the power that's coming out of that? Boom. And it's really a whip kick down. Or if you can do a breaststroke kick if you prefer. This is a really good top arm, bottom arm kick. Yeah. See, I got nothing to say on this one. This is perfect. Good streamline. Excellent kick. Excellent glide. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi pull. Boom. Right on. So anyway, the TikTok page is nothing but me doing voiceover critiques of submitted videos. If you guys want to submit your videos to me, I can show them on this. I can put them on TikTok. It's up to you. But I will answer them regardless. And if you don't want them on social media, just tell me, and I will not share them. How long does it usually take a guy to get ready for SOCOM with the Heroes of Tomorrow program? Good question. You know, there's no one answer. Most people come to me from an athletic background. If you're a really good athlete, like we've had some great D1 athletes that were heading into spec ops, they only spent about 6 months with us, maybe just focusing on their weakness. So let's say they're a lacrosse player and need to learn how to swim, because running was solid, strength was solid, PT scores solid. They're just really good all-around athletes. Put on a backpack, no problem. Easy day, load bearing, no problem. You just need to teach them how to swim and get in swimming shape. And then also, you know, it's more than that. You know, it's also treading water and underwater swims and drown proofing. It's a little water confidence. Usually water confidence is the kicker. You know, teaching someone to swim and getting them confident in the water takes some time. You know, if you're coming from a swimming background, it's a little bit different, because I don't have to do that with you. But I need to get you used to gravity, because you've been spending most of your life in zero gravity exercise world. And now you need to get stronger so you can handle the load of rucking, logs and boats, and fireman carries, but also the impact of running. A lot of swimmers get hammered when they run. So with injuries. So it depends. You know, we've had D1 college football players get here and they need to lose 50 pounds first. That takes time. If I were to say on average, usually take, I would say guys stay in between 6 to 12 months and train here with me. But that number depends. I've also had guys leave in 4 and crush it. So good question. All right. So what's happening? Thanks for the help last week. Got my 4-mile time down to 27:30. Great. Today, my question is about push-ups. My current number, the max is 90. Is that decent? That is great. Don't worry about trying to get 100. Sometimes 100 will just happen. But if you just keep doing hundreds of reps of push-ups, every other day, keep your volume. I would say keep your volume up to like 200 to 300 push-ups, every other day, every upper body day. You're going to be fine with maintaining that, but also maybe even growing into the 100 range. So yeah, you don't need to worry about it. 90 push-ups is great. In fact, I always stop at 91. You know why? Because that's the year I graduated from the Naval Academy, and it's a good year. Yeah, I got a 91 plaque back there. Let's see. All right. I don't have any other questions here. If you guys got a question, send them. I'm going to wrap it up. I got to write an article. Let me ask you guys a question. I'm about to write an article, and I don't know what I'm going to write about. So if you could tell me what I should write about. It's a Monday feature article, probably about 1,000 words. And yeah, give me some ideas. Just come up with a topic, a title of an article, and tell me what you think. I want to hear from you guys on this one. So I'm asking you questions right now because I have a little writer's block and I'm not sure what I'm going to write. I have an idea. I may write a little bit about what I started this with the kind of like you build mental toughness one spoon at a time, one spoonful at a time, versus one big event or poster or motivational phrase. You're not going to do it that way. So think about that. Give me an idea, give me a title, and we'll shut this down, and we'll do this again next week. And hopefully I'll have a new article for you with your title in it. Let's see. Renoir says, when you're doing your workouts, would it be okay to split them up? Absolutely. So I do cardio portion in the morning and strength portions in the evening. Absolutely. A lot of times I have to do that as well. So I'll tend to do like calisthenics and cardio in the morning, and then I'll do a corresponding lift in the afternoon. And I may even swim at lunch, depending on pool schedule. I may not be able to get my swim in the morning. So yeah, I'm usually try to stay pretty flexible with all of that. And yeah, do a second workout if you have to. Tips for underwater breath holds. First tip, most important tip, is never do it alone. And don't just do it, to see how long you can do it. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I ever held my breath longer than 90 seconds at Buds. Maybe 2 minutes during pool comp. But even then, there were intermittent breaths here and there that, could throw off your time a little bit. Yeah. But my thing is, if you're trying to get better at breath holds, you're probably doing something else under the water, like swimming. Like you need to get really efficient with your underwater swimming technique. So you're not wasting a lot of energy and wasting oxygen in your body, wasting a lot of energy during that underwater swim. You being efficient is really important. The other day, somebody sent me a video of them doing the 50 meter. And the first 25, they went down there in 4 strokes. Really awesome. I think that's a great, efficient swim. Coming back, they did 8 strokes, and it was the exact same time. So even though they thought they were going faster, they were just wasting energy, thinking they were swimming faster, and they're probably sounding like a baby dolphin under there, trying to breathe. But they were basically panicking. So if you find yourself doing that, you need to fix your comfort level in the water and just relax, because you're not going to go faster by doing more strokes. You're going to go faster by perfecting your streamline and getting a solid kick and a solid double arm pull with your underwater swims. Now, if you're tying knots, I would suggest practicing on land, tying knots with a breath hold, and then you can go underwater, tie the knot underwater, and you'll see it's a little bit different when you're tying knots underwater. It's just a different world. The ropes float and move around on you, and it's sometimes a little bit confusing. So you definitely want to practice tying a rope underwater. Doesn't have to be deep, just underwater, so you can kind of feel it. Standing in the shallow end, squat down, tie a knot, things like that. But yeah, those are the big ones for sure. Get comfortable swimming, get comfortable being patient or relaxing underwater, being patient with your stroke, and moving with as few amount of strokes across the pool as possible. Working on your efficiency. Things you should do. Okay, here's a topic. Things you should do after graduating high school, getting ready for spec ops, and how long you should wait enlisted. I've done a couple of those already. And in fact, I think it's called 4 Steps to Getting Prepared for Special Ops. I'll put it in here. But I also have written some about teens preparing for special ops. Let's see what I did here. Advice. Oh, look at this. Advice. Here's the title of this article. Advice for early teens about getting ready to serve. Boom. I'll put that in here too. Now, I've written 3 articles a week for nearly 20 years. So there is really not a whole lot I haven't written about. I just may change the way I write about it now compared to how I did 20 years ago. So might be able to add some more science into it, throw a little more experience into it, things like that. So literally, if you guys are like really want to test it out, go to Google, type in a question about whatever, spec ops fitness, military fitness, whatever, running, push-ups, and put my name in the search. And I've probably written something about it. If I haven't, send it to me, because I probably will. Oh, let's see. Might have fibromyalgia. Any advice? Quite painful for the last year. I was overtraining 3 days in a row. Not sure how that's overtraining. Last day, my chest and arms were fried. I don't know anything about that, man. I would say rest, recover, and go see a doctor. Let's see what Tom has. Exercise, physiological benefit to handling mental stress. Not a catchy title, but interesting topic. Yeah, I got to figure out that one. That's a good one. It's a nice topic. So using physiology to handle mental stress. I think I've actually written something about that. Mental stress. Physical fitness as a catalyst. I do have a long list of articles, actually. In fact, check this out. You might like this. This is a really good one, Tom. It has to do with a method of training called base R. And base R stands for, let me see if I can find, breath, attention, simulation, energy, and recovery. It's just an acronym that I actually did a podcast on it too. So I wrote an article, did a podcast on it, and it's really good. I think you'll see what you're asking there, because we talk about dealing with stress, because mental stress can definitely bring on physiological or hormonal changes to your body. And that's what it usually hits first. And then chronic stress starts really getting into the psychological side of it. So you can definitely ward off stress by focus on the physiological first, because if you ignore it and it becomes chronic, it moves into psychological. Hope that makes sense. And that is a lot of what we discussed in that article. You guys are getting some good ones there. Somebody's like, see if you can stump Stu on has he written an article about it or not. I don't think I've written anything on fibromyalgia. That might be something I could look into. Don't know a lot about it though. So usually I like to have some experience in what I write about. Or there is some really cool science or studies around a topic that I reference, and I am also learning about it at the same time. So, all right, couple more things. Do you have a technique for equalizing the ears in deeper water? Yes, it's called the Valsalva maneuver. Certainly you've heard of this. If you've done any scuba diving, you will, you need to Google this word. I'm just going to put the word into it, into the comment section. Valsalva maneuver. It's just basically you hold your nose, blow out your nose, and your ears pop. It's called equalizing your ears. So if you ever take a scuba course, you will learn that. So is there a running shoe that you would recommend, or would you just recommend that most people go to the store that specializes in running shoes? Good point. I have learned a lot about running shoes over the years, but the things I've learned affect me, may not affect you. So I have found that Nike and I don't get along. Not trying to bash Nike, but something about them, about the insoles there, I always wound up getting fasciitis or something if I was doing long running programs. I found UK Gear to be very good. They have this one brand called the PT1000, evidently rated for over 1,000. I took it for 1,200 miles in a pair of shoes. Pretty good. PT1000 UK Gear. Recommend that one. I like the On Clouds brand. I like Brooks Beasts. I've run in Hokas, but I only typically run in those when I'm doing hills on concrete. Just the added cushion is really helpful. And then I also have some zero drop shoes I'm actually wearing right now. In fact, I showed these last week. They're my zero drop shoes. In fact, they're called Zero with an X. I like these for running on the beach, running on trails. Because I tell you what, if you run on trails and you don't feel like wearing boots, I would first recommend running in boots on trails just for ankle support. But if you don't want to roll your ankle, run on something that's a minimalist shoe. That way you're not like running on high heels and you have that tendency to roll an ankle when you're up higher. So the flatter the shoe, the more stable you are, if that makes sense. Or you have high tops and it, keeps your ankle good. Do you have martial arts as part of your workouts? No, I do not. I tend to stay in my lane, and my lane is fitness. Focusing on calisthenics and cardio for testing, as well as weights for strength and durability. Some tests now. So I focus on tactical fitness, that is getting to the training, getting through the training, and being an active duty operator. And I also have a phase 4 fitness for after your service. So you're now an old guy trying to maintain your fitness and not be a broken old guy. So that's my lane. I got 4 phases of tactical fitness. I stay in there. If you want to add martial arts to it, go for it. But I'm not the teacher of that. I do a lot of swimming too. So swimming, I would say, if I have a specialty somewhere, it's swimming. Do you have any supplement advice besides melatonin for sleep? Can't get up in the morning when I'm on melatonin. I can't wake up. Have you seen my sleep video up on YouTube? Check out podcast 215, maybe. Yeah, go to YouTube and check out my YouTube channel and check out Doc Parsley. And I did a podcast on sleep. In fact, I have his sleep formula here somewhere. Maybe I put it upstairs by my bed. But it's he has a great little sleep formula that I would recommend looking into. Check out docparsley.com. In fact, I'll put this in the answers down here. docparsley.com. So yeah, check that out. docparsley.com. It's got a sleep formula. But also watch the sleep podcast I did just last week. Yeah, I like ultras. Ultras are good. A lot of my guys wear ultras. Let's see. Do you have any Oh, you just did that one. What's up, Linda? Sources of info on nutrition and physiology that you use. Yeah. Let me see. You know what? I don't have it like nearby. The physiology that I use is really right out of the strength and conditioning manual over here on my bookshelf. National Strength and Conditioning Association's manual. And then there's a section in there for block periodization. And basically my method of training, my strategy of training is a block system that works through the whole year. In fact, it's called Tactical Fitness, Seasonal Tactical Fitness Periodization. And it has been what I have been doing for over 20 years. It is a system of training. You don't necessarily need my workouts. Like this is my spring and summer method. You don't necessarily need to do my workouts to get the same type of system. You can do your own calisthenics and cardio. You can do your own transition out of lifting into running and less lifting. But that is the system. And then in the winter, we hit the the more of a lift and little bit less cardio. Not neglecting cardio, just a little bit less focus on it. Let's see. Carson asks, ever consider going on? Sean, Ryan, Jocko, mic drop. If they asked, I'd be on it in a heartbeat. So let's see. What teams do you root for in the NFL? Well, I am college football, Major League Baseball. You know, I've been in Maryland now for over 20 years. I like the Orioles. I just know all the players on the Orioles because I listen to Orioles baseball radio. They haven't been good lately. It kind of sucks. But I would probably watch 50 Orioles baseball games a year. Haven't in the last few years, just because they haven't been very entertaining. And then I go watch Navy baseball games as well, Navy football games. I like any team in the SEC. So I grew up in the South, grew up not far from Gainesville, Florida, and Florida State. You know, so I always root the SEC teams on. And let me see, NFL, Ravens, just out of Baltimore. Once again, I just know all the players. However, I will say this: I like Joe Burrows. He's an entertaining guy, and to see somebody be a Heisman Trophy winner, a national champion, and a Super Bowl champion, I think I'm rooting for him to be the first quarterback to ever do that. So there you go. Yeah, I appreciate you like to see me on those podcasts, but you know, ask me questions that you want to see answered, and I'll answer them here. So, you know, I don't do these for any other purpose than to help you guys out. So, have you ever gone over the EOD physical test? It's a human performance test. Yes. Do you think SOSB would be better implementing it as a pre-screen for buds? Yeah, I think my advice or my recommendation for buds is to make getting into buds harder. You know, so you don't have a class that starts off with 200 plus people and then you only have 20 graduating Hell Week. Make it harder getting into it. Maybe start a class with 100 and see what happens. You might have a better prepared candidate that way, I think. I don't know, but that'd be my suggestion. Back in my day, we had 120 that started and we finished with 28. So still similar attrition rates, but you know, a lot of those people didn't get dropped. You know, they were rolled into other classes because they were still good students. They just got injured or sick or something like that. There are some people that are just so ill prepared that they're failing everything and they'll just get dropped for not meeting the standard. So that would be my advice. Tips for open water siding with fins. Yeah, every 5 to 10 strokes, you should look up and see if you're swimming in a straight line. That means what I would do is you have a buoy in front of you here and you're back here. And then there's something behind the buoy that you can look up and see it. So you don't have to pop your head up so high to see the buoy. You can see that tree or that building or that flagpole that's on the other side of the buoy, and make sure you're swimming in a straight line. But as long as you check every 10 strokes, you're not going to get out of whack too much. And the way my swim pair and I did it was I would check on 5, 15, 25, and he'd check on 10, 20, 30, 40, right? So every 10, we would be checking individually, but every 5 strokes, we would be checking as a team. So you can even go straighter that way. Just some ideas. That's a good question, though. I live in a really cold area, sub-zero. Woo! Yeah, I thought we were cold here, man. We were hitting like 20s. Today was 32, felt warm. How do you deal with running in that kind of cold? I don't know how I would deal with it. I mean, the coldest I've run in this winter is a wind chill of about 6 degrees. So I haven't hit any negative negative temperatures or negative wind chills even. Yeah, treadmills suck. But when it's that cold, you got to watch out for ice and snow and black ice and slippery. So you just fall and bust your ass, sprain an ankle because the grooves in the snow are now so hard that it's like you're not running on flat ground. So in the past, I would run on treadmills in the winter and just not even bother when there's ice out. But you could put on some yak tracks, put some stuff on your shoes, see if that works. Dress really, really warm. Definitely want to nose breathe, cover your face. It just sucks, man. Find a good place to run that's not, dangerous. Ooh, look at that. I've been going over for an hour. So, hey, if you got any topics you want me to touch on, I'll go through these questions again, see if anything gives me an idea. But I do need to get to work. So I appreciate you guys listening. Look for some great podcasts this week. I'm going to have a podcast tomorrow with Jason McCarthy, who is the founder of GoRuck, former Green Beret, Army Special Forces guy. Great guy to talk to. I'm going to have Nick Behringer back on, the nutritionist, and we're going to talk about PST and ACFT nutrition planning, like the day of the test, the day before the test. What are some things that you should be conscious of when you're eating for energy? And then on Saturday, I'm having Ben Milligan on, who is the author of By Water Beneath the Wall, latest book I've read in a while, or latest and greatest book I've read in a while. And got to check that one out because it's a great history book. If you haven't seen that one, I posted it up on Instagram, By Water Beneath the Wall. Great book. Highly recommend it. If you're trying to go Navy Special Warfare or any spec ops for that reason, because he dives deep into the history of special ops, all forces special ops, even goes into like the beginning formations of the CIA and how that started post World War II. So really good book. Highly recommend it. You will be smarter after you read it. All right. I got to go. Thanks for the questions.